Hey everybody, welcome back. We're so glad you're here with us again for your weekly roar. My name's Dustin Hedrick. Brandon Billings is with me here. We co-host this every week. We hope you're enjoying joining us. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of really great updates that a number of you in our community have been asking about everywhere. So yes, we've seen what you've been asking. We see all the uproar and the anticipation and anxiety, especially with the markets being the way they are. And we want to give clarity on what's going on with our nodes, the node sales, the node's actual physical rollout that will be later, as well as what's going on with Zeev, our partner, OP team, and more in this whole process. And we're going to give feedback about what's going on at this latest event that's SmartCon by Chainlink that the OP team, Ben from Optimism, the founder, has just been speaking at. So we want to share some of the takeaways from that and how it matters to the roar. So first thing I want to talk about before I hand this off to Brandon is just a node development update. So since we've heard a lot of speculation on the exact dates for the nodes to go live, as well as when the chain will be able to support them, we thought we wanted to give some clarity on this podcast. And so there's a lot of dates, times, quarter, whatever people are talking about, but we've been very careful in what we're saying. We've been saying over and over, it really has to depend on where Optimism is, where our partner is, who's doing the development piece in tandem with them, as well as when it fits all of the other parts and pieces of the superchain rollout, and what Optimism's doing, which we'll mention in just a minute. There's some really cool stuff. So we don't have that date yet. I'm just going to put it out there straight, flat, and as honest as I can. The truth is that we're working towards an end to get it done as soon as possible. Node sales are ongoing, and could it be in Q4? It could. Could it be in Q1? It could. We don't know. It could be anytime in Q4. It could be up to the early part of Q1. It could be March. We don't know at this point. We know we're heading that direction. We're making great headway, and we love our partners. They're doing an incredible job. We will not speak anything negative about them, and we're happy to take this journey with them because, guys, walking in compliance the right way and getting this right is essential for what's coming, what's being termed in this world the institutional speed run. So if you want to be a part of the institutional speed run, you want to make sure that you are compliant to what your team's compliant to, as well as you got eyes on, not just a 6-month plan of how you get your token to go up in price, but a 10-year plan on how you remove barriers. You allow people to be able to enter the space well. You create solutions on top of what you're building in layers above the chain that allow people to utilize very complex systems in ways that are one-click button press and launched or deployed. You want to become the best of class in security. You want to make sure that everything rolls out so it's compliant to the next leg. And with Optimism having some incredibly daunting tasks ahead of them, bringing in support for the rest of the super chain, as well as being able to integrate at some level with ZK rollups and more, which we're optimistic rollups. This is a big stretch for them to make, and we are going to be with them along that journey all the way. And so we want to stay fully compliant, and we'll make sure everything we build is compliant, because when you do, you're not just talking about everything launched on our chain, you're talking about everything launched in tandem with that chain of chains. So it becomes native across chains. Do you see why this is important? You got one project launches here, and all of a sudden the tokens, the NFTs, the dApps themselves, they can adapt and be utilized across all chains or move without being bridged. And you guys, that's huge. It's already starting, and we're leaning into it. We're taking baby steps even as we've got this development going on. So here's the thing. We have learned in our space, we take full responsibility and control of everything we can. And where we can't control the outcome, we do our best to pivot and do the next right thing for the next right reason, so that we make our full plan ahead of time like we always do, and we over deliver and we under promise. That's what our goal is. So we're working through this process, we're getting there, and this can take time, but we're happy to ensure that the process is done well, since it's a first of its kind type of deployment. So anyways, with that said, that's a lot. Brandon, Can you talk to us about where we're going with OP Stack, and then we'll bring in the SmartCon and even talk about what we're doing based on the moment we're in and how we're having to pivot and how we're making the best of where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. So you kind of stole some of my thunder here. Talk about super chain compliance and why. And no, it's really actually important because it's important to note that this is like the first of its kind development, right? What we're doing. This is not something that's old hat. It's not been done a million times. This is new development, and we want to be in compliance for all the reasons that you just talked about, so that we can align with those sister chains like Base and Uniswap and CeeLo and all of those, right? Like we want to be partnered with them. The other thing that it allows us to do is we can get grants from Optimism, and we're looking forward to that as well. So yeah, thanks for covering most of it, Dustin.
Well,
Um,
it's not just said in what I said. The truth is we could even go deeper in the fact that what does it mean to be have opportunities to partner with Base
yeah,
or
that's right.
Uniswap or World or CeeLo? So Uniswap, it's got its own chain and it's an OP family chain, and Uniswap is one of the standards for
Yeah.
chain bridging and trading. And they've been around forever. They're one of the standards that created all of the swap functions and all of the liquidity functions we have. You guys, Uniswap's been on the front end of that this whole time. And now we can be in a sister chain with it. What does it do? It just takes all the friction out of the fintech industry, as well as being able to roll up more in the legacy banking world. We're taking away that. So being in partnership with that and making sure that we don't do anything in our development, this new kinds of development, to break it, super important. Base, if you're launching on our chain and you're launching on Base in a sister chain, you've got a lot of opportunity. We want to have opportunity with their people as well as our people. We want reach. And so Base is a great chain to be in family with, because honestly, there's so many people that have adopted already because of Coinbase. And
That's right.
Coinbase has made it so that projects that are involved in this super chain family can find an easier entry in DeFi, even into being listed in the Coinbase exchange. And let me tell you something, that's like the gold standard for anyone that wants to get a token listed on an exchange. So they're making ways for it to reduce the barriers to entry, to allow folks to have easier confidence in bridging, as well as remove bridging altogether. So, oh my God, there's so much more than that. But let's talk about this week at SmartCon. SmartCon is being done by Chainlink, who is an incredible partner in this space. They're an Oracle provider, and they do so much to support so many chains out there, especially Ethereum compatibles. There have been a number of updates that have come out of this event, but we want to focus on the ones that matter to us right here, right now, and that's with the Optimism team. So we love Optimism. We love the OP family. We love being a part. And one of the first things I'll brag on are the stats that are coming out of this early season of Superchain. It keeps scaling Ethereum. So October's data is telling the story that there's been massive transfers and massive activity on the chain. So I'm talking about 2.2 billion that's come through the chain, 6.1 billion in transactions, 20.6 billion locked in chains across the board. And that's just incredible stuff. There's so much more, but you guys, they also relayed out one of the things we got lower in our notes as far as the whole Ethereum ecosystem's TPS, that now they're able to look at that throughput, that speed for the transactions transfers across chains that are sistering up in OP. And if you look at it, 6 of the top chains are OP chains. Guys, this is incredible. So we're literally rolling out institutional grade and institutional adoptable solutions in that space. So congratulations, OP team. That's incredible. Now, let's take a minute, and Brandon and I are going to go back and forth and talk about what Ben, who is the founder of Optimism, talked about at SmartCon. He brought up the question, what does competitive look like in the institutional speed run? So the institutional speed run is the fact that right now we have enough parts and pieces in place that we can kind of see where the institutional chips are falling and governance chips are falling. And now we can start to maneuver to be a part of legacy institutions, legacy banking, legacy DeFi, fintech, more entering our space. So you want to be competitive as a chain and as an ecosystem to come in that space. And that's where we want to talk about his points and bring out what we're doing about it as a partner with the Optimism team. So, Brandon, do you want to hear just hit that first one?
Sure. Product and distribution is paramount.
1,000,000%. So, the teams that are winning right now are focused on innovative and sustainable products and distribution, not just tech, not just the tech. So, you have to think in ways where you're removing barriers to entry. And if you're wanting to focus on institutional adopters, you want to make it easier for them to utilize everything. So we're in the RWA space. We want to be in that space, real world assets in DeFi. That's what that chain is really for. That's what our applications are built. And so we have literally built 5 applications in the last 3 weeks that we brought to beta. We're going to start to announce those in the next little bit that reduce all of the friction and entry for each part and piece of what it takes to pull off an RWA business or an RWA investable product. And guys, it's exciting because we've broken down all of the pain points and we've turned them into wizards. And then we added our R0AR AI and made them smart. And it's getting stupid how smart they are. This has been incredibly fun. And as you hear about them, we're not releasing them all today. We're not telling you all the names. We're not sending you domains. They're in beta, but they're like functioning and they work. So you've got front end with AI built in that is as good as Web 2 can do for you in design, in applications. And then back end, it's smart as everything in Web 3 can be with all the libraries and information built in. So what does that mean? We're building layer upon layer. This first layer, it's removing all those pain points in every single part and piece so the institutional players can play. And then we're building on top of that the rest of the R0AR AI that we're perfecting in its fractional model so that it can take away the rest of the thinking when it comes to everything from launching a DAO, a product, fractionalized assets, and even putting in blockchain, bring it to market, getting seen, being incubated as a business, and bring on investors. Mm-hmm. Just imagine that we've looked at every part and piece of that at the same time as we've built rails for the banking piece, like R0AR Safe, which you already know is out there, and our chain itself that functions in the DeFi space with our platforms, how to function in liquidity tokens or whatever, and then also your on-ramp, off-ramp, wallet, the whole deal. So guys, end-to-end, making it where people can come into this space and not need a major developer to be on their team to get there. Products and distributions are paramount. That's what we're doing. And at the same time, we're bringing on partners who are doing more on top of our chain. I actually went in yesterday, Brandon, and I was shocked because I saw more smart contracts being on our chain verified. And I'm like, I didn't do those. So folks are using the chain. They're verifying contracts. They're developing. And that's what happens. It just more and more come. It's because it's cheap to run on and it's really easy to use. I'll take the next one, and then you can like go down in it and just explain what it means, from your perspective. But number 2 is just put it on chain doesn't cut it anymore. It used to be, I got a token, I got an NFT, just put it on chain. So Brandon, do you have any thoughts about what just put it on chain means for you?
Yeah, it doesn't cut it anymore because there's that moment, right? That it's like you get it on chain and then what now? That's really the issue is you think, hey, we got this brilliant idea. You get it out there and then you don't know what to do with it, don't know how to further develop it or, really bring it to market even. And back to what you were just saying, like all the software that we've got that's going to help people. As you were talking through that, I remembered an old advertisement. They said, "It's so easy, even a caveman can do it." Right? Like I feel like that's where we are. It's literally like a button click, and you can launch things on the blockchain. Your business, your tokens, your whatever. We've made it so easy. Anybody can do it.
Yeah. It thinks about what you need to think about for you.
That's right.
And
So it,
then
it goes beyond that what now moment, right?
it does. And I think I didn't say this. It doesn't just support our chain.
That's right.
We're supporting on day one, I think we've got in most of our products more than 10 other chains.
Mhm.
So, I mean, how many will we support in the long run? Well, I think on our roster of chains that we've already been working with that are Ethereum compatible, we're at 29 chains.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's not just for the Roar's chain. The Roar's going to win. Roar chain will win. But our applications that generate revenue and have fees associated and all that good stuff, we're rolling them out so that sister chains can have just as much of a win as us. We're not just building for us anymore. We're building for the movement. And that even includes chains that aren't in the OP family, chains that are Ethereum compatible but built in a different way, not quite an EVM classical, compatible virtual machine. So we're thinking about that whole idea as we come to this project. We want the space to win. And so we're going to do what's best for everyone in the space. So yeah, just put it on chain doesn't cut it. You got to think about like what are you really doing? Where is it going? And what does it do for later, unlock later? Which leads into number 3. I love Ben's thinking because he thinks the way I think. But long-term customer journeys actually matter. And so early enterprises, he says, to adopt crypto products have learned that they must just be graduating their best customers into competitor products. But this is the thing, like, we've got to make sure that their whole experience when they come in, it's not just we can do this with these few because they're tech savvy or because we won't get sued for it. We got to help these folks enter in such a way where it takes care of the security and removes that wild, wild west experience I've talked about forever. We are
Mhm.
exiting the wild, wild west and we are trying to make things so it's best of class, blessed, best of class. So, best of class customer journeys and to make it where the customer for us is the institution so that as they're experiencing walking through it themselves for their clients, they say, "Oh my goodness, I want this in what we do." And our hope is that we engage this in such a way, like for our for the Roar Safe, roarsafe.com. So Roar Safe, we built into it a history and tracking that allows you to mark wallets as spam and tokens as phishing, and it removes it from your reporting. And then your reporting is best of class reporting. So you can pull out what's really going on in transactions and understand what's happening in the blockchain in a way you would if you were in a banking ledger. We've cleaned it up. Best of class customer journeys, they matter. And so that's that one. What's the next one, Brandon?
Pay to play in the stablecoin space is really ineffective long term. This idea of paying short-term incentives to bootstrap a project. Um, what happens is your user base becomes transient. They just kind of move from project to project.
I mean, the goal has become for chains to get as many stable coins on there as possible. And so they're saying, if you come to our chain, we'll give you these rewards. Stake on our chain. And what does that do? It locks assets into that chain, but they're having to pay out rewards constantly. Something we've learned very early on is, we want to reward early adopters, but
Mhm.
then we have to table that reward off over time to make sure that the ecosystem is lasting. And so, do we want to get a massive amount of stable coins over in our chain? Yeah, that'd be our next goal. So, will we have staking built in our platform for folks to do that? Yes, it's coming. We're doing that. As we figure out the rest of the pieces and we get everything in place and we know the numbers, we'll do that. But we start to tail off on other places where we are giving away the farm. And we want to make sure that revenues and growth outpace what we're putting back into our community to reward early adopters. And so the math has to work. If the math ain't mathing, you can't keep going. So everyone's figuring that out, something we learned very early on in projects we'd been in before. And so we've been very intentional in how we've approached this one. The next one is number 5, yield sustainability is a growing focus. So plugging into a lending market is not enough. Major players are thinking through supply and demand years out. And so you have to have mathematical processes that can do that down the road. And I just want to tell you, if you're coming to our chain to launch a product, project, fund, token, or whatever, we've built tokenomics and we've baked in AI insight for yield and performance, as well as what can happen with the market being flooded with your token into it, into our wizards and into our AI. Guys, our applications are smart dApps, and we're building them at every level into what we do on our blockchain first, and then every other chain we support, so that institutions can one click have that experience, and then on top of it, they can understand those ideas right there. Yield sustainability from day one. You can see the 10-year plan. You can see the 10-year numbers. That's insane. What's the next one, Brandon?
I just want to say what you just spoke to is way easier than what we did because we did a lot of math along that process.
We did all the learning out of the bumps and bruises on our heads. We banged our
That's
heads
right.
so many times on the walls, and we came back and said, I would change this, I would change this. When it comes to liquidity provisioning,
That's right. That's right.
like, holy cow, all of the understanding you got to have, the math, the modeling, and then on top of it, you got to know some code and understand what you're doing. We took all that out. We automate it. We make it simple. And so, again, removing the wild from the West. We're making it where it is truly not just a pioneer experience. You can settle and colonize this thing now. And that's what institutional wants to do.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Thank you. So finding the right partners matters is the last point topic. Enterprises that are winning are finding partners that are able to give them unbiased guidance, right? And that's really important.
1,000,000%. I don't want partners to come to the door just to get a cut for an expectation that they'll work 6 months and exit.
Right.
Because they don't have the long-term plan. We want partners that see 10 years down the road and know they're still a part of the project. And we want partners that bring something to the table. So if you're out there in your project, learn from what we've learned for the last 3 years being out in front of it, 4 years since development or more, but now we're out in front of it for 3 years. What we've learned is you want partners that are actually not just blowing smoke. You want folks that don't just come and toot your horn. You do not need to pay a partner to be your cheerleader. What you need is someone that will actually give you wisdom, guidance, and help you see down the road, who also sees themselves involved. So there needs to be skin in the game. You need to think about how you even make the agreement and the arrangements. That's what we're doing. We're making the right partners for the right reasons. So coming back down, I'm going to skip on down past these last few and hit these points of what we're doing while we wait. Coming back to ROAR, because it doesn't answer everything about that node situation we're currently in. So let me explain what we're doing while we're waiting, and you see how these 5 points feed back into what you just heard from Ben, Optimism's head, and the Optimism team. So number 1, we're focusing on products on chain. And we're making them best of class solutions with security, AI, removing friction, and making it so they're institutionally adoptable. So that's key. That's number 1. Number 2, we're focusing on users and partners on chain. This builds transactions. Both of those last things build transactions. That's what grows our nodes income. So guys, it's not like we're hanging out and waiting while we get these nodes out. If you want to make income, you want a lot of transactions on chain. So what do we need right now? We need everyone out there to get 10,000 users over on the ROAR chain and start using it. Hop on our platform, bridge over tokens. If you get into our platform, roarplatform.io right now, we will heavily incentivize you as an early adopter. We told you we're doing it. As an early adopter, you get a really great reward and incentive. And right now, the token is a bargain. So go ahead and grab a bunch. You can grab a bunch more than you could have just a few months ago. Bring them over, stake them. You're getting an incredible reward. And again, those build transactions. It builds wallets on chain, and it builds users on chain as well. So while you're there, we're gonna flood you with a lot of other great things so that you don't want to leave our chain when you get there. But this is the way we trick you to get in. Just saying. So it's in your best interest to follow us over. So that's that. Focusing on users and partners on chain, guys, we are literally working with negotiations and partners and relationships that grow our chain use. This is what you do when you're in a weird market, a down market, or you got a developer slow roll. You start building up all of what creates the pressure to create more revenue and income. So we haven't gotten to market yet. Some folks are out there and they're like, my node ain't making me money yet. I ain't got my $150. So hear me. Wouldn't it be better if when the chain starts, it starts at like hundreds of bucks for a node making, transactions? That would be better. Now I can't make any guarantees to all that, but what we're going to do is build, 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 push, 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 partner, 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 and see what happens. Like anything can happen if we just all roll up our sleeves, join the fray. So what can you do during this point? Bring people over to ROAR platform, bridge over tokens, take a part in it, invite your friends and family to do it as well. If they've got tokens, do something with them. Don't just set them on your wallet. Go stake them for an incredible return. You'll do better than what you're doing in your banking. So come try it out. We're rewarding our early adopters. Come be one. And do it before this token bounces. Because when it bounces, when it takes off, that train is going to leave station and roll. But yeah, get your folks on and you get on. This builds transactions. We want 10,000 wallets attached to our chain now. And let me tell you something. We found out about a number of chains that have recently come public that have come under fire because they've got bots and fake wallets and fake transactions and fake activity just to farm in game or attempt to mine out the reward possibility on a chain. Let me tell you something. We do our next airdrop, we're looking for that kind of stuff. So we want real wallets. I don't care if somebody says, we got 40,000 wallets. Yeah, but how many are real? You got like 5 users and 40,000 wallets. That means nothing. We want users. We want partners. We want community members. And that's what we're growing in our Discord. So if you're not in our Discord, you're not having fun. You may be over in Telegram, but Discord's where it's going down. There's a lot of fun over there. That community's growing with energy and excitement, and they're pushing that idea that even the smallest investor can make a big difference. So we're focusing on our products on chain. We're focusing on our users and partners on chain. And that's why we're putting a real push in that Discord growth, because we've seen Discord become really great hubs for community. So join us over there if you're not in it. Number 3. We're completing our larger ecosystem timeline and roadmap, and we're prepared for institutional adoption by Q1 2026. So listen to me. We haven't gotten the nodes out yet. We're still selling them. We hadn't got them online yet. But you know what we do have? We have 7 software that are rolling out on chain and currently functioning or beta doing. 7. And you don't know about them. So that's where you do it. You complete your roadmap early. Let me be clear. We have to rewrite our whole roadmap because as we've had to pivot on one thing we pivoted on, we rolled out everything else. It's like, well, let's just go in game. And now our new 10-year plan is massively bigger. And we got friends lining up to be a part of that. So that's the whole point of that. So completing that larger ecosystem and timeline and roadmap. So we're prepared for institutional adoption by Q1 2026. Brandon, you take those last 2.
We are focusing on bringing institutional adoption with partners, which we are negotiating with now, as well as institutional players who are beta testing our newest unannounced coming soon. I think you said 7 because when we wrote these, it says 5.
Yeah, we
It's a
had 2
lot.
more. We
Yeah,
had 2 more. We got 2 more to beta. We got them out. We're getting it done.
it's funny because we say that like, oh, we got 5 or 7 more. people don't realize how much we are churning out. And these are not just little apps that do little things. These are world-changing applications and software platforms that people are going to be able to use. That's going to make life easier. That's going to make this institutional adoption easier. I mean, brother, anybody can do this. And the institutions are going to appreciate all the features that we built in there. I know that you hit on a few of those. Like in the safe wallet, having that accounting in there, that stuff's huge, right? And there's so much more. There's so much that we can't even talk about it right now, but it's a big deal, and I look forward to getting it out there live. The last one is really completing all of the gaps in the RWA narrative, right? We're upgrading, we're fixing bugs, we're putting AI into all of this software and platforms that are coming to market, and those are in beta right now. So this is key because RWA is something a lot of people have talked about. A lot of people have said, "Oh, we've done it," or "We've got this little piece of it," or whatever. We have put it all together. We've made it one button click. It's it's done. And it's literally we're going to get through beta and the world is going to change.
I laugh because it's so funny. I love underreporting, you know? And for the
Right.
longest time, we talked about our 28 coming software, and here's seven of them in beta at the
And
same time,
and now we
which
still
is,
have 28 more to come.
well, we got more than 28. That's what I was
Well,
going to say.
it
Like,
keeps
we
growing.
grew the
Yeah.
portfolio in the process because as we've done it, we identified more gaps,
That's right.
more places we can make it better. Every time we see a place that's not good enough, we do something to make it better. And then that's made some of our in-game software, like the World Portal, like stupid better.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I want that to be the place that people go to, not just for guidance and investment, but because they're getting their new idea incubated
Hmm.
through a blockchain solution for funding,
That's right.
or they're bringing their non blockchain company to market through a blockchain offering, and they're
Hmm.
finding crypto money available to them to utilize. And then we built the rails and framework for them to actually use that money like it's cash in the bank. It'll transact like a dollar. And that's incredible. When I started back in 2010, I could never imagine how my Bitcoin could get off of that thing, that software on my computer or the server it was on, it represented it, into like a debit card or a credit card or be able to even spend it at all. I thought, how are you ever going to spend this? PayPal works. This doesn't work. But I didn't let it stop me. I thought, well, I guess you could put it into websites and people could pay through the website if someone will accept it. And so we started finding ways that could be utilized like a currency for that reward for mining. And here we are now, and it's like, how can I have an entirely built crypto banking solution?
Hmm.
And it's no longer how can I get my token onto my own credit card or debit card. It's even more. We've answered all those questions in the crypto space, and we're going to even own them all in the ROAR space. So this little ROAR cosm is getting bigger as we lean into supporting our teams who are bringing best of class blockchain to us. And then we're building all the dApps that we're going to be known for, not just for our chain, but for everyone on every chain that runs in an Ethereum compatible or a super chain or more. And then on top of that, reaping the rewards in our ecosystem for all of the revenue that comes from all those fees and more. It's pretty incredible. So, again, I want to say this, there are some things that we can't control. And one of the things I can't control is when. So, when node, when chain, when magic money hit wallet, all of those things. You've seen it on there, the WEN, whatever, when Lambo or whatever. I understand the questions, From the beginning, we said these things are incredibly challenging. Number one, crypto projects in general, what we said since the beginning of talking to people about what we do is we can't tell you how it's going to play out until the governments around us say this is how it's going to play out. We got to have regulation, clarity. And then we said we don't even know how crypto markets are going to work in another year. We got to have understanding of what's going on in the markets and investors. We don't even know if it's going to stay investable. And now here we are, got regulation clarity. We understand that the legacy finance is coming our direction finally.
Right.
We have rails we've even built that taps into that. There's a lot of understanding there. And from the early part of these node sales, I've said from the beginning, we could hope for as soon as Q4. We can't know. It depends on the development. But what we can do now is you can get your node license. You can be a part. Those node sales are ongoing. You can get those. You can take part and participate. And then we can do everything we can to make it even more beneficial to everyone when those nodes go live. When will they go live? My hope is as soon as possible, because honestly, we want to get those things running. They give us a better name, more security, more decentralization, and we head into that future, but not at the cost of being in that super chain and not at the cost of being in alignment with the team for the future for even support of ZK rollups or whatever, because I know what that means. And I don't want you guys, I don't want anybody in this ecosystem or this community in ROAR to miss out on the greater good, which is interoperability of chains, the sisterhood of chains, the internet of chains almost, the non-bridging necessary native token, guidance so that anything launched on our chain can go chain to chain without having any problems. And even more than that, more than all of it, the ability to take part in the shared revenue and fees that come from that super chain offloading across every chain that's in that family. You do not want to miss that as a node owner. I don't want to miss that. Let's get that in play. Let's make sure we get that right. And then whether it's 2025 or 2026, load up for Bear because we're going to own this. And we're going to help everyone else own it with us. So anyways, you got anything else to add, Brandon?
Dustin, I'm excited and the future is bright. And I think if people hold steady and be a part of what we're doing, they're going to see rewards in the end. And I look forward to everybody being blessed.
Me too, my friend. Okay, well, that's enough for today. We've talked long. We love you guys out there. As always, Lions, it's time to roar. We're so grateful that you're part of your weekly roar this week with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week. You guys take care. Thanks, Brandon. Y'all take care.
Thank you guys. Take care.